this point, we wrapped up our time in Ecuador and made a run for the border in order to catch up with our friends Scott and Marie, who had already made their way into northern Peru. We broke one of our biggest rules by crossing a border later in the day, but thankfully luck was on our side, and the crossing went smoothly. Immediately after, we were thrust into a chaotic city while trying to get our bearings as we entered into a new country. It added to our nerves because we didn't like driving so close to the evening. With sunset looming, we finally rolled into our camp for the night, feeling safe. By morning, we were up early and back behind the wheel, chasing coastline in the comfort of friends. A couple of dusty hours later, we landed in the little surf town of Lobitos, reunited with Scott and Marie, and joined by Passive Rosie, a couple we'd met in Ecuador. Just like that, we were a crew again, carried forward by the search for surf and shared stories. After Lobitos, the four of us kept heading south along the coast with the goal of reaching Chicama, a little town that was home to the longest left-hand break in the world. So it was a must for us to go try and catch some waves there and soak in some more surf time with our friends. What had been quietly hanging over us was the reality of our timelines. Scott and Marie had a bit more flexibility, but we were running on a tighter schedule, and we were coming up to a point where our routes would split. They were heading for the mountains, and we decided to stick to the coast. We spent our last night together in a quiet little town called Tortugas. Saying goodbye hit harder than we expected. After 3 months of traveling side by side, they become a huge part of our rhythm. The long drives, the shared meals, the laughs that made the days easier. Their presence had made this stretch of the journey feel lighter, and we weren't ready to say goodbye, but we knew that we had made some lifelong friends in these two people, and it was clear to us that we would see them again. Scott and Marie, if you're watching this, we just want to say thank you for being a part of this journey. It was truly so special getting to meet you and share this adventure together, and we're always going to be grateful for that. And just like that, it was the two of us again. The wide open desert in Peru had a strange way of making the silence louder. Without our friends around, the loneliness hit a little harder. There was a real emptiness, and not just in the landscape. Still, there was a kind of quiet beauty in it too. Long stretches of nothingness that gave us space to process the shift. Around that same time, another issue crept in. The oil light started flickering on the dash. The Land Cruiser was suddenly burning through oil at a rate that made us nervous, and we didn't really know why. We found ourselves limited by it, planning routes based on where we could find a top-up, constantly aware of the next gas station. It added a layer of tension to every day, not enough to stop us, but enough to make things feel a little bit heavier. Before turning towards the mountains, we found ourselves in Huacachina, a little oasis nested in the sand dunes near the coastline. It was a lively scene here. There was crowds everywhere and buggies racing around. It honestly felt like we were transported into a scene of Mad Max. Our next destination was Cusco, but to get there we had to drive up a long winding mountain road. When it was time to find camp, we met up with some familiar faces from Ecuador. While hiking on Cotopaxi back in Ecuador, we ran into this Canadian family of 5 that was on the same journey as us, and they happened to live 5 hours away from us back home. That's actually their truck parked there at the base of the hike. Running into them was another reminder of how small our world can be. You could drive halfway across the world and run into people that live so close and are also living the same dream as you. It felt so good to be back with familiar faces again. And with Paul, Daniela, and the kids, we shared stories and laughs and just had a great night together. After that, we continued our way to Cusco.
So you can kind of see this is one of the toll booths normally on the highways, but it looks like there's potential that they got torched during the protest the other day. So there's been a protest going on. Well, there's been protests
earlier
going on
this year, probably.
Peru. Basically, most of 2023, to my knowledge, and a bit of 2022. But that's the second or third toll that we've passed, which has actually been torched.
Yep.
So not 100%, but apparently that might be because of the protests.
Yeah.
I don't remember what they were over specifically.
I think they didn't like the new president that got thrown in.
Yeah, so it's been interesting. Apparently there's protests started in the major cities 2 days ago. So we might hit a checkpoint or a roadblock or something. We haven't yet, but we'll kind of see what happens, because apparently there are protests starting again now in July. So we'll see.
After a long day of driving, we had made it to Cusco. We were blown away by the breathtaking beauty of this town and its historic architecture. While parked at camp, we made some new friends, Evelyn and Ferenc of Overland site. They are a couple from Hungary that are also driving the Pan-American Highway down to Ushuaia in their Iveco. We became fast friends and decided to go explore one of Peru's most iconic sites together, Machu Picchu. The trek over to Machu Picchu involves driving to a town called Ollantaytambo. From there, you can hop on a train to Aguas Calientes, the little village at the base of the mountain, home to the historic site. We quickly learned that Machu Picchu tickets sell out fast, meaning we couldn't visit the mountain that day, so we made a new game plan. Spend the night in Ollantaytambo and get the first train to Aguas Calientes in the morning, and then get in line for tickets. So we spent the rest of the day exploring this little town and tried some of the local cuisine. Yes, that's guinea pig, and yes, it tastes like chicken, but with a little bit of hair on it. The train ride was pure magic. Even though we had to get up at the crack of dawn, being able to meander through the valleys surrounded by ice-capped mountains with this morning light touching it was a sight to remember. Two hours later, we arrived in Aguas Calientes, and thankfully we got our tickets and hopped on a bus that brought us to Machu Picchu. It didn't feel real that we were actually stepping foot onto one of the 7 wonders of the world. This place felt ancient, but it had a story to tell. We were blown away by the intricacies of the architecture, the rugged beauty, and of course, the llamas were a bonus.
Is it a llama?
Where?
He's a little guy.
We actually got photobombed by one of the cutest little llamas, but we weren't mad about it. It's just a little Paco looking.
That's so funny.
That was amazing. So cute. Nearing the end of our tour, the crowd started getting bigger, which made us very thankful that we arrived at the mountain so early in the day. We made it back down the mountain and got on a train ride home. The drive back to Cusco in the golden hour was the cherry on top of a perfect day. The Andes Mountains were commanding yet so stunning to drive through. We spent a few days in Cusco doing some more brake repairs, but weirdly enough, the market in Cusco had every OEM Toyota part we needed to fully repair the front brakes. What the guys thought would take them hours to find parts only took them like 20 minutes visiting 2 different shops. This was also an opportunity for Josh to set up a makeshift barbershop for our friends.
That's not okay.
Paula and Daniela had caught up to us at this point, and they were gearing up to hike Machu Picchu the next day, so we were really glad that we got to run into them one more time.
4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9.
Wrapping up our time in Cusco, we headed to another special mountain in Peru with Evelyn and friends. The drive up to Rainbow Mountain was an adventure in itself. Winding around cliff sides, herds of alpacas wandering the dirt roads, and climbing to crazy altitudes we had never reached before. The base of Rainbow Mountain was cold and windy. The air was thin and our lungs were feeling it as we hiked our way up to the mountain. Unknowingly, we were at the same altitude as Everest Base Camp, 5,200 meters or 17,000 feet. Rainbow Mountain's colors were breathtaking, and we had all to ourselves, aside from the locals who set up shop there every day to sell snacks. On our way back to the vehicles, we were met with a herd of fluffy alpacas.
Look at those faces.
They're so funny. The drive back down from Rainbow Mountain was just as epic as driving the way up. Peru was showing off its rugged beauty in these mountains, and it had left a lasting impression on us. The people of Peru were so kind and curious. They would offer the biggest smiles and waves whenever we drove by, and we always felt so welcome by them in their beautiful country. We were nearing the end of our time in Peru and sadly had to part ways with Evelyn and friends. As we made our way to the Bolivian border, we were excited for what was on the road ahead of us. Thanks for watching.